Server thought crème brûlée shouldn't be burny, so I gave her a menu education. I'm 27M, pastry chef at a high-end restaurant in Portland. I do the dessert menu, been here 4 years, went to culinary school in Paris, the whole deal. So we hired this server named Ashley maybe 3 months back. She's early 20s, super bubbly with customers, which is great. But she started doing this thing where she'd come back to the kitchen and tell me how customers wanted their desserts modified. First time she asked if we could do the chocolate tart without the gold leaf because a customer thought it was too fancy. I was like, okay, sure, weird, but whatever. Plated it plain. But then it became constant. She'd ask if we could make the creme brulee less burny on top. That's literally the entire point of creme brulee. She wanted me to do our Earl Grey panna cotta without the Earl Grey because someone didn't like tea. Just like, make a different dessert at that point. I tried explaining that the menu was designed a certain way. These were my recipes, but she'd do this thing where she'd be like, but the customer really wants it, with this pouty face. And I didn't want to be the difficult chef stereotype, so I'd usually just modify it. It was getting ridiculous, though. My sous chef asked why we were basically running a custom dessert operation. I said, I don't know. Trying to keep Ashley happy, I guess. Then last Saturday, we were slammed. Full restaurant, 2-hour wait list. And Ashley comes back during the dinner rush and says, Table 8 wants the deconstructed apple tart, but can we put it back together because they don't understand why it's all spread out like that? I was so done. So I just stopped what I was doing and I was like, Ashley, why did they order the deconstructed apple tart if they wanted a regular apple tart? And she got all defensive, like they didn't know what deconstructed meant. And I wiped my hands on my apron and walked out to table 8 myself. My chef de cuisine was like, what are you doing? But I was already going. I got to the table and introduced myself and said I heard there was some confusion about the dessert. They seemed kind of surprised to see me. I explained that deconstructed meant we were serving the components separately so you could experience each element. But if they preferred a traditional preparation, I could absolutely make them our classic tarte tatin instead. They were actually really cool about it and said, oh, that makes sense. Well, we'll try it as designed. Walked back to the kitchen. Ashley followed me and was like, you made me look bad. I said, no, you were making me remake dishes all night because you weren't explaining the menu properly. That's literally part of your job. She complained to our manager that I went over her head. Manager pulled me aside and I explained the whole 3 months of modifications. Manager was like, wait, you've been doing custom orders every night? When I told him everything, he basically said, Ashley needs to actually read the menu descriptions and understand what she's selling before taking orders. They made her do a full menu tasting the next day. She had to try every dessert and learn what everything was. She's barely talked to me since, except for when absolutely necessary. But, I spent years developing these recipes. You can't just crowdsource the menu based on whatever random requests come in. Also, maybe don't tell a pastry chef how to make desserts when you thought creme brulee was supposed to be soft on top.